Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is David, and on this channel I'm always talking about accessibility. So we'll be testing out a new plugin today. If you're interested, I was given the plugin a while back to test, but I've just not had the time to test it out. So I thought, why not just go live and do the test live? So we'll be testing out Droip, and we'll see, because it claims, at least we'll see from the website, there is a claim that it has some accessibility enhancements in the builder. So I'm not really going to be testing out the builder that much. What we are focusing on is what are the accessibility improvements that were mentioned, and are they real? And okay, how well are they improving my own lifestyle if I'm building a website with with Droip. So I've been testing out too many builders recently. So, but yeah. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to switch my screen. Whenever you join in, just say hello in the chat so that you just let me know you've joined, and we'll see. So let me go ahead and switch my screen. And today we are basically looking at Droip. It's a no-code site builder for WordPress. And you see they are breaking the limits. Build anything, no code needed. So that's a very bold claim. Let's see if that is true or not. So we get to see it. But the builder itself looks quite nice. It looks like a traditional builder in that we have, at least from the screenshot, you can see the typical style. We have the top bar at the top center. They have the icons, which are usually for your responsive mode. So they have the desktop, tablet, mobile landscape, and then mobile portrait. On the right hand side of the screenshot for the builder, we have things like the zoom, search, I'm not sure what that feature is. We'll see when I test the builder. Then there is an accessibility icon. There is a play, so I'm guessing that will be like preview. And then there is a save button. On the right hand side, we have our typical settings for each element. So whenever you're styling an element, all of the typography and any other kind of styling you want to do is on the right hand side, while on the left hand side is like our selector. So we have our elements selector, we have other things on the left hand side. And let's go over to the drop down that says accessibility. So that's from the navigation menu. I'm just going through the navigation menu. The menu says features as the first menu item, and I'm looking at the accessibility, which is a sub item on their website. The website is droip.com, so you can go ahead and check it out if you want. I'll put it on screen as well, if I can find my chart. Okay, Droip. Okay, so let me put it on screen. So yeah, the website is called droip.com, DROIP.com. And yeah, so let's see. Okay, so let me try and get in center of the screen. Yeah, so for their accessibility features, they said Droip, there's a bold statement that says Droip is accessible to everyone. From keyboard controls to custom appearances, experience inclusive website creation with accessible tools. Okay. Then it says you can make text larger in the builder, I'm guessing. You can increase contrast. Yeah, that would be nice for me to increase contrast. You can apply reduced motion in the builder. Let me see how that works. Okay, I don't have. Okay, so they will basically remove any animations in the builder. Then you can also switch. I'm not really sure how switching. Well, I guess while you're building, then you can see the different modes to try to get a good glimpse of what some people might be viewing how some people might be viewing your site. Because basically they say you can switch between default, then you have Protanopia. I can't pronounce the names very well, so I'm just going to look at them. And yeah, then they said you can switch between big black and or white cursor. So you can switch your cursor from black to white. So I guess most of the accessibility features were focused on in-builder features. So in case you want to have any in-builder help, because I know most builders, that's one of the complaints that people have about a lot of builders, is the fact that most of these builders were built to create accessible front end, but then their back end is very hard to use for people who are not mouse users. Because a lot of the builders I've tested out, they tend not to have like keyboard. They don't really put so much consideration for keyboard users. So I think that is something. So I guess these Droip, the team from Droip, they are more focused on trying to make the back-end experience accessible. So yeah, we'll see all of these features and then you let me know what you think about them. Yeah, we have color contrast checker to maintain readability. Then we have more features. So there, we'll go ahead and test it out. So, like I mentioned, you can go ahead and get Droip from this droip.com. You can undo get started and you can see everything. So the pricing structure, the starter plan is $20 per year. The growth plan is $149 per year. And the scale plan is $299 per year. For the starter plan, you get one site. Then the growth plan gives you 10 sites. And then the scale gives you unlimited sites. And I think they all come with the same amount of features. So you're not actually... I know some page builders, they do this kind of... In fact, some plugins and page builders, they do the feature limiting. So they'll say maybe for people who are on the starter plan, they will have access to a few features. But people who are on higher plans, they get access to more features. But I think in the case of Droip, oh yeah, there's also the ultimate version, which is a one-time payment of $599, and you get unlimited sites as well, including all features, lifetime updates, and a 60 days money-back guarantee. So yeah, that sounds nice. That's basically saying if you get to pay 2 years in advance for the scale option, and then you can keep the software for free, which is kind of like how most software lifetime are. I think they say most softwares after 2 to 3 years, you'll be lucky for your software to keep like expanding, growing fast after 2 to 3 years. Many softwares, their lifespan is usually that 3 years. So if you are willing to invest for 3 years and above, so you just pay once and then you know that, okay, I am all in with this tool. So yeah, that's your choice. But yeah, anyway, let's now go ahead and try to test it out and see how the page builder will work for us. So let me switch my screen and then we'll start testing out the page builder. Okay, so we have the page builder installed. Let me go ahead and go over to plugins. I'll just zoom in for now. I'll zoom back out later. And the main plugin that we're testing out is Droip. It comes with two things: a plugin and a page and a theme. So you have the starter theme, which I think is a blank starter theme, and then you have the page builder that goes along with it. So if that's something that you like, I know many people always ask that question: what happens what theme is most compatible with this page builder. Like I hear that a lot. Whenever I'm testing out any page builder, the first question I get asked is, okay, so what is the most compatible theme with the page builder? We have themes like the Hello theme for Elementor. Bricks is a theme on its own, so you basically just install Bricks and you have both the theme and the page builder. I think Divi is something similar as well. You have the Divi theme, which comes with the page builder features. Then there is the Etch page builder. Etch also comes with a blank theme if you want to go that way. It's only like Buildarius. I know that Buildarius, they say their page builder is compatible with different themes, so you shouldn't be worried about the theme you're using. Just use it, and that's it. Okay, so that's it. We're going to be testing out Droip. I don't think any of these other plugins will work in Droip, but I just installed them because I like using them. So now let me go to my pages and see all of my pages. So I have the About page, Blog, Contact page, Home, and Services installed. Do I have any posts? Let's see, posts. Okay, so I have some dummy posts. I used FakerPress to just create some dummy posts so that we have something to use. Okay, so now let me go back to my pages and let's say I want to edit with Droip. Okay, so it's going to be loading. Now it has loaded the interface. So let's go ahead and see on the interface, what do we get? I'm just going to hide my face. Okay, so at the top, we have the Droip icon, the D icon, and that gives us, okay, so some view options where you can disable some different screens you don't want to see. So let me see if I want to disable Content Manager, Apps. Okay, so as I disable the view options, they are disabled on the left-hand bar, so that I guess that's where everything is stored. The view options are for the left-hand bar. Then we have the font library, show onboarding, shortcuts. That would be something that I need. So we get to see the shortcut keys that we can use. Control X for cut, Control C for copy, Alt Control C, because I'm on a Windows machine. So all of these are just going to be using Alts and Controls. So Alt Control C to copy just the style of an element. Control V to paste. Shift Control V to paste inside first. Interesting. I'll have to see what that means. Then Alt Control V to paste element style. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and just start something. So the first thing I'll just try and do is, okay, go with the mouse and see how the mouse operates. Then I'll try and use the keyboard and see how the keyboard operates. And then we'll go from there. So, okay, let's say I'm using the keyboard now. So the mouse, I think the mouse works good. So there's a plus icon just underneath the Droip icon. And that shows me that I can add elements like elements. Okay, I can add sections. I can add full pages. Oh, nice. So an entire page, I can just add it. I'll probably do that to see the structure on the front end of the pages, to see how well the pages were structured. And then we have, I don't know what these are, symbols. Okay, I haven't created symbols yet. Wireframes, just like we have in Elementor, those wireframe in Elementor. Shapes. Oh yeah, you can just get shapes. Oh wow, nice. So that is a really no-code tool. They give you almost everything you need without having to write code. You have icons. I'm guessing they're SVG icons. Buttons. Different button styles. We have tabs. Yeah, okay. So that's something I will test out as well. I'll test out their tabs. And we have cards. So I guess that's the one thing we'll test out mainly today. We'll test out the actual builder accessibility features that we added. So what are the builder accessibility features? Then we'll also test out I'll add a section, just add a simple section with some elements and see how they are outputted on the front end. It's a no-code tool, which means they will most likely be included all of these extra divs and spans because they have to make it no code, meaning that they have to like cater for any kind of anybody's needs without having the person write any code. So whenever there's any no code solution, you should just expect there will be a lot of divs in the background, which is normal as long as it is still usable code and not just divs everywhere. At least if they are still putting in the right HTML tags like the heading, the video element, the audio element, just something that screen reader users and other users can still understand, then I'm happy for that. There's no problem. So yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let me switch back. Okay. So let's now first of all test out all of the accessibility features that they put. The accessibility features are on the top bar. I think it's the fourth icon from the right is called accessibility. So if I click on that icon, the features I can do are large text. So let me press a large text and see. Okay, so it just enlarges all of the text in the builder, and that will disable it. If I click it second time, it disables it. Let me see, disable animations. So that will just disable any kind of animated opening and closing of the different sections. Then there is the big black cursor. So it switches the cursor to black. Big white cursor, it increases the size of the cursor and switches it to white. Magnifier, okay, it's the same kind of magnifier we have in the Windows settings, so you can just easily magnify over a section. Increase contrast. Yeah, I think I would like that, to increase contrast. Maybe also make the background a bit darker. If they are increasing contrast, they should probably make the background slightly darker. But I don't know. I guess that's just my personal opinion. Then mouse pointer highlighter. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me see if I disable motion. Will that stop the pulsating? Okay, yeah. They actually thought well about these things. If I disable motion, then the pulsating pointer highlighter stops pulsating and just gives me a big white, a big red color. Then let me disable that pointer highlighter. So that will be good for tutorials. If you're doing any kind of tutorial, you can always do that highlighter so people know exactly where your mouse is. But can I change the settings of the pointer? No. So can I change the colors? I know I can turn it on and off, but I can't really see a way to change the colors. Is there any setting? So let me go ahead and check for setting. No, there doesn't seem to be any setting for that. Because I don't think red may not really be the best color for some people. Some people don't like red colors. So other colors might actually be better. But yeah, let's continue. Let me disable that pointer. Then we have color blindness. So let's see, red, green. Oh, how do I disable it? Okay, none. Okay, the one that has some. So there are different ones you can choose, or I can just choose none. I'll go with none for now. All right, so that's it for the builder set. I will say, yeah, that's actually some nice features that they've added to help people in the builder, because lots of people have different needs. You can't fully anticipate everybody's needs, so it's a nice thing that they've added a setting that can change colors. But I wish, okay, maybe the background could be a bit darker when they do that contrast mode. So maybe they make the background darker than the light gray that it is now. I don't know if it's my screen, but it looks a bit, the gray of the background looks a bit light. So if they could make the background darker when they put the high contrast mode, that would be nice. But yeah, I think that's not bad. Okay, so let's go and do the next test, which is, let me go ahead and just add a few section elements. So I'll go to the plus icon, go to elements. Let's say I want to add a section. Okay, can I see the layers? Okay, I can see my layers. I have a section. I have a page. Within the page, I have a section. Let me see. Can I add? Is there anything like a header? No. So how do I add headers and footers? I have section, container, div, flex, grid, stack, but I don't really see any option for like a header. Or are those like components or something? Let me see. Is there anything like components? We have forms, cards, tabs, buttons, icons, shapes. So the best thing I'll do is add a page template or a page element and see how it was formed. Then I can now decide if they actually have a header and a footer. So I'm deleting the section I put initially. Then I'll click on the plus icon again now and go over to pages. And let me see a full-on page. So one that has a header and a footer. Okay, I've seen this is a blog page, FAQ page. Okay, so I'll just go over to the, I'm just going to choose one at random. Okay, maybe the first one I see. I think that's a home page. So I'll click on it. It has inserted the page for me. Let me close the bar. I'll go ahead and publish. Yes, update. And let's see, how do I preview? Okay. Interesting. The preview doesn't show me because I didn't add any header. Does it have a footer? And there is no footer. Okay. Okay, so let me even just go to their own website and see. Inspect their own personal website. Yeah, they have a header. They have some script, lots of script, lots of link. Interesting. I would think that all of these link to external style sheets should actually be in the page head section. I'm seeing the links in the, let me switch, take over my screen. The links are inside the body. That's actually not, it's not wrong, but I would expect that the links should be inside of the head section. So what do we have in the head section? So we also have some styles in the head section, style, scripts, links, lots of links in the head section. Then we also have links again in the body. Because I can see one link, class equals to Droip custom fonts link. href is to the font family, rel equals to style sheet. It's not wrong, but most metadata information like links, the page title, and all of that should be in the page head. Okay. But since they have a header in their website, that means there must be a header somewhere that I'm not just seeing. So let me go ahead and delete the entire page again. Let's see, can I shift click? No. So how do I delete? Delete all of them one by one. Let's try again. So I'm going to go to the plus icon. But yeah, it showed that there's a header. So that means I must be missing something. Okay, so yeah, templates. I have to go to templates first, I think. Then let's just get one of the templates. Maybe real estate or food and restaurant. No. Portfolio. I just want something simple. Okay, so let me use one of the portfolios. I'm seeing details. No. I want something with a simple. Okay, yes, I've seen one. called Earthwise. So how do I activate that now? Let me zoom my screen out a little bit. Nope, doesn't work. So my screen, when I use the Control Plus, because I'm guessing this is like a dialogue sort of. So my keyboard is not interacting with the dialogue. So that's already a bad omen. Oh, interesting. So let me just import. Because my screen is always zoomed in a lot more than normal. So sometimes if you are trying to use fixed width and things like that, it will break on my system. Well, yeah, let me install everything. Proceed. It includes site settings, symbols, pages, and the content manager. So let me just go ahead and proceed. This will override all of my existing pages. I don't really care. Import and replace. So it's importing the page now, and it says import successful. So let me press done. Okay, so now we have a header. So let me see how the layer is. So okay, the header and the footer are kind of like, I'm guessing it's what they call symbols. Let me make sure I'm right. Symbols. Yeah, the header and the footer. So other page builders, we call them things like components or patterns, reusable patterns and things like that. But I think in Droip land is called symbols. Okay. All right. So let me go to my page, publish and preview. Let's go ahead and preview it. Okay, now we have the logo, then the page header or the page navigation, the hero section. Oh, nice. Okay, they didn't do that cutout. I just saw a post by, I think, Kevin Geary on X talking about this inverted radius border. I think a lot of people are doing that, but I think in this case they just did the square or the rectangular border. They didn't really do any of those border radius, inverted border radius kind of design. Yeah, I think for the design, let me see if my screen is in the right. Let me go back to 100% zoom so that we can really see the screen. Okay, yeah, they have so many like cool features in their design. This kind of reminds me of all of these awards type of websites. They have this look. Most of these websites are like from awards or from things like GSAP type of animation websites. They tend to have this kind of large fonts or like large text with some images that do some nice animation, then a large text, then some image with some funky shapes. Because I think, let me even see if I'm right. Andrea, what's her? Is it? Oh wow, can't remember what the website is now. I think it's ohwow.club, right? Yes. Because Andrea too, she does all of these GSAP type of websites. So it's almost kind of that similar style where people prefer to like make everything bold, big and bold text. I think that's like the new age style. Because I think my websites are usually that traditional bog standard websites, but in this case, people now like these big bold texts per page. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we'll actually test. Since the website talks about accessibility, I'm testing on one of their templates, and I'm just going to do a basic keyboard test because already from a mouse test I can see that there is not much in terms of hover states, but hover states are not really directly accessibility related, but they are good to have. It's good to have hover states so that people, when they hover over any of your clickable elements, it's not just that clicking hand sign that they see. They also can see something visual, like maybe an underline or something like that. But yeah, let's use the tab key now. Okay, that means they didn't tamper with the focus outline. I think the focus outline is the default focus outline from the browser. So yeah, that's good. Okay, not bad. Let's go back to the home and see. Okay, there are no drop downs, so I can't test any drop down. Then let me just quickly go ahead and just use something like headings map to see how they structured it. So there were lots of, so we start with an H1, then an H6, then go back to an H2, then an H6. I think that's probably maybe one of the disadvantages of a no-code solution, is that many times they now start using the shape or the size of the text to define what heading level they are using. Ideally, you should first define your heading levels irrespective of how they look like on the page. Then you go from back to front. So first put your content, then you style the content. That was the initial the initial ideology that we had with web design, was that the main focus was supposed to be the text content. So ideally, we should be using the right heading level, the right paragraph text, the right punctuation marks. All of those things, you should do them correctly first. Then we now apply CSS to add some styles. Then you apply some JavaScript to do some animations or keyboard interaction, things like that. So the initial goal was, first, the main focus should be the HTML. The HTML is like the overall. But yeah. So let me see the landmarks. So we only have a navigation landmark. They forgot to put a header landmark for the header. There is no main landmark for the main content area, and no footer landmark for the footer area. So the two things I'm going to be testing out today before we call it a day are, one, I'll try to see if we can set the header tag to actually be a header, the footer tag to actually be a footer, and then I'll test out the tabs component, because I've been having some nice back and forth about tabs and how tabs should interact with the website. But yeah, let's see. So I'm back into the builder. Let me scroll all the way to the top. Okay, I can do that. Okay. Let me go ahead and access the, let's go to, where is that? This is the structure, the header. Can't I? Okay, I can't edit the header. Okay, so how do I edit the header? Let me right click. No. Click on the three dots. Okay, edit. Yes, I can edit the header. So we have, oh, it says header. How come it doesn't show the header? It says header here in the builder. So that means on the front end, it should be a header. Right click, inspect. So in the builder, it tells me it is a header, but on the front end, it is setting it up as a div. Why? Any way to change that? Let's see. Okay, so I've clicked on the header tag. Can I change the tag itself? This is, let me get so we have structure on the right hand panel. We have structure, we have div. So We have a way to add classes, so it's not just no code. You can actually add classes to your elements, and you can rename the classes, I guess. Yes, you can rename your classes. So yeah, that's a plus. The only thing I'm struggling with is how do I change it from a div to a header tag. These are all things related to styles. So we have display conditions, interactions, effects, position, borders, backgrounds, then typography, sizing, but nothing really related to the HTML tag itself. So I guess that's one of the limitations of having a no-code solution, is that you end up with lots of divs and stuff, but they have a header, meaning that there is a way to set a header, because on their own web page they have a header element with a class of Droip something. Why can't I change mine? If I click on the plus icon, go to elements, search for header, no. Now this is something interesting. Okay, so let's go to dev mode and see what that does. Ah. Okay. So this is the dev mode, but this is for JavaScript. I just want, please do not update the following line. So this is for JavaScript. I don't need any JavaScript. I just need to find a way to change the HTML tag from a div to a header. Oh yeah, so you can change from dark mode to light mode. That's something I missed. Okay, let me go to the documentation. Okay, elements panel. Let me see if I can just search for header. Anything like that? Or HTML tag? Nothing. Okay, header. Header. Symbols. Creating a symbol. Okay, right click on a component. Right click on any section or component and select create symbol. Okay, or select the component and click the horizontal 3 dots. Yeah, those ones are not a problem, but so this is just basically synced patterns as symbols, but I'm not seeing how to change the HTML tag. So let me see tag. Code. No. Element, no. Header. Tag. Okay, so I think I'm at that point where I don't know what to do. So I am not sure how to change the HTML tag to a header. I have clicked everywhere I can think of, but there's no way to like convert one HTML tag to another HTML tag. So I'm just going to exit it. Let's see, how do I go back? No. Okay, so the final thing I'll test out today, before I call it a day, is their tabs component. I saw that they have tabs. I'll test out the tabs component and the cards component. So let's go ahead and Let me first switch to another page. Looks like there are two contact pages. Okay, so this is one empty page. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop in a section. Within that section, and I should add a container. Within the container, okay, then I'll just add my tabs element. Okay, so let's go ahead and see publish. Yes, update and preview on the front end. Okay, so it's on click, we get our new tab. Now let me see with the keyboard if that works. Nope. So the tabs were built with, let's go ahead and inspect it. Yep, they're just built with divs. There are no accessibility consideration for the tabs. The tabs are literally just divs. So a keyboard user has no way to interact with this tab. Only a mouse user can interact with the tabs. So that's some issue. But yeah, I guess that's one of the limitations of no-code solutions, is that there will always be some form of limitations when it comes to like incorporating accessibility, because you need to incorporate so many things, and those things are kind of like, one thing I've learned about accessibility and HTML in general is there is never really a one size fits all type of solution. So something will work for most use cases, but there will always be one of those use cases that it doesn't work. So I wouldn't blame there being limitations to the no-code solution, because if they now go ahead and incorporate so many things into the tool, then that will now limit the way you can use the accordion or the tab or whatever tool. So it's always a problem, like with no-code solutions. But yeah, this is just a quick check of Droip, because I've not had time to look at it properly. But for my first impressions, I would say in terms of like the builder features that they added for accessibility, they are great. The no-code solution works, but the fact that I can't really change HTML tags, because I like freedom. I like the ability to change things to fit my own need. So for that, just that reason, that I can't like add data attributes whenever I want, change the HTML tag whenever I want, it can be quite limiting for me. But I think for other people, let me know in the comments what you think about if you have been using the Droip so far. Let me know how you are getting on with Droip. But for me, I would say I would have to wait a bit longer for them to add some more control, because I know, yeah, they said no code solution, but I feel there should be some level of code that the user can interact with. But yeah. So is there any questions? If there are no questions, then I'll see you all in the next live stream. Same time next week, I believe. And we'll see. So thank you all for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe. Leave a comment. That will help me out. This channel will be more about everything related to accessibility. So I'll be talking mostly about accessibility on this channel. So if you believe in accessibility, you have a passion for accessibility, not just because you want to get not sued, or basically from the legal perspective, but just because from a moral perspective that you truly believe in accessibility, then you can go ahead and join the channel, share your thoughts, and we'll learn from each other. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.